Hey guys, this is the Revolutionary Male. My name is Alex. I'm going to go ahead and cover another article for you here today. This one's from The Guardian, entitled, "Why Do Dating Apps Bring Out the Worst in Men?" As if it's only men it brings the worst out of. Written by Nancy Jo Sales, published on Thursday, January 27, 2022. And underneath the headline here, it says, "Apps like Tinder and Hinge give straight men unfettered access to women and a new sense of boldness through a seemingly endless set of options." Any average-looking guy on any one of these apps is going to tell you that that's a bunch of nonsense. They will, give you all the information you need to discover that it's not men who have unfettered access to women. It's women who have unfettered access to a certain subsection of men, the most desirable men. Reading the article, if you've managed to live your life so that you've somehow avoided the West Elm Caleb saga that's unfolded over the last week, then you're probably a happier, less perplexed person because of it. And if you're a single straight woman who uses dating apps and have never dated a young man who resembles West Elm Caleb, then that is nothing less than a miracle. In brief, West Elm Caleb is a guy, 25, who got outed on TikTok for allegedly dating multiple women he met on dating apps, all at the same time. God forbid! God forbid a man date multiple women at the same time. God forbid a man may date multiple women who he is not exclusively committed to. What a sin. What a terrible, terrible person. Women never do that. Leading them on and then for allegedly dating multiple women he met on dating apps, all at the same time, leading them on and then ghosting them. Back in my day, we just called that a F-boy, said my friend Amelia, 29. Yes, I know. Back in 2015, I wrote a story for Vanity Fair entitled "Tinder and the Dawn of the Dating Apocalypse," in which I reported a F-boy is a young man who sleeps with women without any intention of having a relationship with them, or perhaps even walking them to the door post-sex. That is his right. Don't you find it amazing how modern women seem to believe that they don't owe men sex, but that men owe them a relationship after she's had sex with them? We don't have the ability to consent or not to consent. Our human rights are just taken away from us once we've had sex with a woman. We no longer have the ability or the right to change our mind. They can change their mind at any point in time. Any point in time. Even after getting married to you. They can change their mind for no reason whatsoever. They just don't feel like being married anymore and take half your stuff. But we don't have the same right once we've had sex with a woman. Once we've had sex with a woman, we are essentially, in their minds, committing to them. Isn't that an insane double standard? It's absolutely insane. That story caused an infamously crazy reaction on the part of Tinder, which tweeted at me more than 30 times in one night. So offended were they that I had talked to actual users about their dissatisfaction with the newly launched, now multi-billion-dollar app. Tinder was mad because, among other things, I dared to suggest that dating apps, including Bumble and Hinge, where West Elm Caleb met his matches, were exacerbating bad behavior on the part of straight men, which is what is missing in the many think pieces that have come out about West Elm Caleb. The problem is the design of technology itself. No, the problem is that a vast majority of the women are all trying to date a small pool of the same guys. So why on God's green earth would that man or those men settle for one of these women? These guys, the top 20% of men who get most of the attention on dating apps, are doing to the 80% of women what the 80% of women do to the rest of the men. Do you follow that? Let me put it another way. The top tier guys, the alpha guys, the Chad guys, whatever the hell you want to call them, they are treating women the way that women treat most men. Simple as that. And the women don't like having it turned around on them. That's the basic reality of this entire conversation. And West Elm Caleb did nothing wrong. There are TikTok videos in which one of these women literally in one breath says, when she was initially going out with him, was considering adding him to her quote-unquote arsenal, her rotation of guys that she dates. But when she discovers that West Elm Caleb has a rotation of women that he's dating, now she's offended and insulted and organizes with these other women who have dated this guy to go onto social media, put his real name out there, put his pictures out there, and contacting his employer trying to get him fired, doxing this man, which is a crime in some states. I don't know if it's a crime in New York, but in certain states it's illegal. So this is unbelievably absurd. And you see, for the entire frame of, like, the point of view, this frame of this article frames this entire issue from a woman's perspective, not even remotely considering the man's perspective, or men generally. Because as we know, as men, we know that the world doesn't generally care about our suffering or the things that we struggle with. We're disposable. Continuing. No, dating apps didn't invent misogyny or womanizers, but they did give straight men, unvetted men, unfettered access to women. Give me a break. See how she puts this? They did give straight men, unvetted men, so men who haven't proved themselves as worthy of these women's attention. That's how ridiculous this has become. They gave them a new sense of boldness through a seemingly endless set of options. No, they taught these men that they can date like women do. They gave them the ability to decide with a flick of a finger whether a woman was hot or not enough for them to date or have sex with. They gave them the ability to create false identities who can't be held accountable. They gave them agency and power. God forbid. Doesn't seem like it's all that different from exactly the same circumstances that most women have when it comes to dating online. In one of my previous videos, I covered a story about a woman who catfished a guy, where the guy thought she was going to be thinner than she was in real life. And she went onto TikTok, the new app apparently that exists to give women a platform for complaining about men. She went onto TikTok to complain about how rude he was to her, but for being when he was honest to her about the way that he felt. The effect of all of this on straight male psychology is something I've discussed with psychologists, feminists, evolutionary biologists, and other experts throughout the making of a documentary film, and the reporting of several more articles in a book. Jesus. This woman's making a good amount of money here. But you don't have to be a PhD to see that dating apps privilege the male gaze and give straight men an outsized idea of their power in their dealings with women. No, it gives a tiny, tiny minority of men power in their dealings with women. Because if you're an average guy on a dating app, you're lucky if you're getting 1 to 2 matches a week. You have to be incredibly psychologically strong as an average man on a dating app to persist in trying to do it. To persist in trying to get matches and to go out on dates with women through these things. Because it's brutalizing. But again, I don't see any articles written by this woman where she investigates this from the perspective of the average man. Because she doesn't care. Again, women only care about what the top guys do. And they want to hold the top guys accountable for their behavior so that those top guys will fill in a certain role and suit a certain need that these women have for them. Again, this article says nothing about the agency of any of these men or what these men want or what they're allowed to want or what they're allowed to do. It's all about controlling their behavior because they have the actual leverage in the situation, which women hate. Women hate losing leverage and power in the dating marketplace because they're so accustomed to having it in most of their interactions with most men. So the moment a guy comes along who actually has more power and leverage in that situation than they do, they freak out. All right. In the opinion of another young woman friend, they have ruined men. Give me a break. No, I don't think West Elm Caleb deserved to be doxxed or harassed by the people who sought to take revenge on his behavior. No one deserves that. So what are we talking about here? This is ridiculous. She waits until the very end to mention this. So clearly in her mind, still, that's not even the top priority here. In her mind, the top priority isn't the crimes committed against this man. In her mind, the top priority is these women's feelings. Their feelings are more important than absolutely anything else. It is wrong, she continues, but I'm not surprised that some women rose up against this character, using him as a scapegoat for what they have been enduring in the realm of dating for years. I'm just surprised it took this long. West Elm Caleb is a pandemic, said Molly at 34. He's everywhere, except there's no vaccine. Well, no, I was going to say no, but trying to curse less. Of course, because all the women want guys like him. So of course you're not going to get him. If you're a 34-year-old woman And this guy's a 34-year-old guy, and he has women coming after him like no one's business. Why in the world is he going to settle for you when he can get a 24-year-old version of you? Right? That's the perspective that most women have when it comes to dating, right? They just don't like it seen like it when it's turned against them. That's the reality in this situation. That's all that this is. And it's important, guys, to remember that. Without any change in the toxic dating culture being created by these apps, or the men they're turning into F-boys, women have been turning to each other for solidarity online. What I'm seeing more and more on TikTok is women finding out that they're being cheated on or dating the same guy, said Lana, 28, and then pushing back. I have seen girls post like, if your husband is named Joe with blonde hair and tattoos and was just on a business trip in Vegas, he's cheating on you. I also saw a girl who found out her boyfriend of like 6 months was dating 2 other girls, and they all ambushed him at the same place. They all looked the same too. Ugh. Well, yes, obviously, if your husband's cheating on you, that's wrong. But if you're dating a woman for 6 months and you're not committed to her, if you haven't had the actual conversation that you're dating exclusively with one another, then you're not dating exclusively. And that's the thing. Women will just assume that they're the only woman dating this guy. And as I've seen in some of the TikTok videos where the women who dated this guy, the way they think about it is they think they're special. They think they're unique. They think that just because they've given their time and attention to this guy, that they should be the only one getting his attention in return, even though they've only been dating him or going out with him for a week. And I've met women like this on dating apps when I've used them. Women who you start a conversation with them and they require you up front, at least these women did, and I'll give them credit for being honest. Some of these women required up front that you not talk to anyone else. And in those situations, I said, no, I don't know you. Why in the world would I surrender the only leverage I have as a man in dating, my commitment? Why am I going to surrender that to a woman I don't know? It's absurd. Honestly, women should boycott these apps, said Brenna, 30. Again, if you notice all the ages of these women, 29, 30, and 34. All of these women are older. They've all been out on the carousel for 10 to 15 years and are all upset that Prince Charming hasn't fallen into their lap. This is how ridiculous this has become. Instead of holding themselves accountable or taking responsibility for their own choices in dating, now they want to blame the apps. The apps that gave them a distinct, huge advantage for over a decade. This is how absurd this is. Honestly, women should boycott these apps, said Brenna, 30. I don't know what benefit they bring, other than make us more accessible to trash men with bad intentions. I'm telling everyone I know to delete the apps. They're not worth it, and no one I know has met anyone worth a damn on them anyway. And that's the end of the article. That's just how utterly ridiculous this is. So, that's the end of the article. I don't really have anything else to add. West Elm Caleb, I hope he's okay. If you have anything you'd like to add in the comment section, please go ahead and do so below. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button. If you have any stories or articles or anything you want to comment on, you can also do that at the revolutionarymeal@gmail.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next one. If I can turn this off, let's see. See you guys.